please.
Thank you very much. Actually, I have the task of condensing 103,000 documents and letters in the FastLink archives, and the issues of more than 400,000 people who use our services annually into a 10-minute presentation. I don't know if we can do that, but we're going to try.
Okay, thank you.
And I would like to congratulate Mr. Parsons on Sandy's Law being implemented. Thank God it's there. Your work has been fantastic. It's delighted to see that. An individual's place and success in society is almost entirely determined by neurological functioning. A neurologically injured child is unable to meet the expectations of parents, family, peers, school, and career, and can endure a lifetime of failures. The largest cause of neurological damage in children is prenatal exposure to alcohol. These children grow up to become adults. Often the neurological damage goes undiagnosed, but not unpunished. Fetal alcohol spectrum disorders are caused when a pregnant woman consumes alcohol. It is 100% preventable. The Statistics Canada Canadian Community Health Survey in 2000-2001 found that roughly 20% of girls, over 19% of girls ages 12 to 34, consume 5 or more drinks on each occasion, 12 or more times a year. In addition, another 32% of girls ages 15 to 34 consume 5 or more drinks on each occasion, 1 to 11 times per year. Now, 5 drinks for a 100-pound girl causes a 0.25 blood alcohol level. That's 3 times the legal limit. 0.30 usually gets somebody into the intensive care unit. Most girls are 2 to 3 months pregnant before they find out, and it is likely that at least 20% of the children in this province are exposed prenatally to multiple binges of alcohol. Even low levels of consumption, as low as 1 drink per week, have been shown to be adversely related to child behavior. There is no known safe level of alcohol consumption during pregnancy. If you'll turn to page 3 of the presentation, I'm not going to go over that in any kind of detail, but I would like you to refer to it after, when you have a few minutes. There are 66 items there that are the results of prenatal alcohol exposure that they can include. They vary depending on the birth mother's age, health, somewhat genetics, nutritional standards, the amount she was drinking, what the peak blood alcohols were, at what time, when what part of the baby was developing. If you turn over to the page 4, you'll find a chart showing the effects of alcohol as a teratogen on the baby. And those are the various aspects of the child that are developing throughout pregnancy. And the very dark line in your copy shows where the most danger occurs, the later lines to the various things such as the brain, etc. And really the brain is developing from the 3rd week, just after the 2nd week, right through to birth. And alcohol can affect a child even when it's being nursed after it's been born. The lower picture on that page, of course, are 2 healthy brains, one from a normal 6-week-old baby and the other from an FAS child who obviously passed away. FASD is grossly underreported. The Canadian Pediatric Society states fetal alcohol syndrome is a common yet under-recognized condition resulting from maternal consumption of alcohol during pregnancy. The only problem in this province is that Ontario medical schools do not provide FASD diagnostic training to undergraduate physicians in this province. This results in the denial of screening and diagnostic services to thousands of children with FAS-related disabilities. It's grossly under-recognized because the doctors don't know how to diagnose it and they're not being taught by the medical schools. Unless they specialize in addictions, then the diagnoses can be taught. The girls get knocked up and the boys get locked up. They're followers, easily misled, with little or no appreciation of consequences. Without intervention, many ride the justice system, merry-go-round, or become homeless street people. And a great many of our street people are FASD. They are required to compete in society, but have been denied the tools to do so. Of the FAE individuals, 95% will have mental health problems, 60% will have disrupted school experience, 60% will experience trouble with the law, 55% will be confined in prison, drug or alcohol treatment center, or mental institution. Excuse me. 52% will exhibit inappropriate sexual behavior, and more than 50% of males and 70% of females will have alcohol and drug problems themselves. 82% will not be able to live independently, and 70% will have problems with employment. So essentially what we have is 20% of our children are being exposed to high levels of alcohol. When I look at the statistics for a major board of education, the Lambton-Kent District School Board, which is pretty typical, 21% of our students are identified and receiving services from the Special Needs Department. The Canadian Centre on Children's Research say that 20% of Canadian children have a serious mental health problem. This 20% number keeps on coming up magically, and it seems to correspond with the volume of alcohol that's being consumed during pregnancy. We get into youth in care. Today, a very large percentage of the children in CAS have been prenatally exposed to alcohol, and it is a problem to try and get them adopted. We do need a system of open adoption in this province instead of the closed adoptions. And I have mentioned to others that some agencies have been known to threaten termination of a foster contract if the foster parents go to a non-agency doctor and obtain a diagnosis of FASD. See, without a diagnosis, they don't have to disclose the child has FASD. That's criminal, in my opinion. Our children have disabilities, but their biggest handicaps are the battles we have to continue to fight to get the services they need. I would like to see the grade 10 literacy test scrapped completely. Our FASD children, or at least give them an exemption to it, because our FASD children very often have difficulty passing it, and essentially what happens then is you are setting up a 25% failure rate and a 25% dropout rate after grade 10, and fodder for the justice system, a new slave class, and increased stress on the social support systems in this country. It is access denial of the worst type. It's denial of access to a decent future, because these kids can't even get into apprenticeship programs later on to learn to be mechanics. They may not be able to write a great essay, but they may be able to strip an engine and put it back together better than you and I can. So, why would you require they do this? It makes as much sense as asking somebody who's a quadriplegic to do the pole vault in order to pass out of high school. It's just plain stupid. Homelessness. Poor impulse control, failure to predict consequences, and inability to plan or manage money means they don't pay the rent or utilities. They get turfed out. Onto the street, and they're homeless. Leads to eviction. Costs $120,000 a year to house a young offender, $82,000 for an adult offender. 60% to 80% of our prisoners are FASD and fully diagnosable. And I'm going to jump over to one little comment I make a little further on. I'm not sure that it's in your copies there, but a single adult disabled in Ontario gets $11,160 a year maximum. If they're living with their parents, it's cut by 24%. That's criminal. But let's really get something straight here. If they live in poverty-stricken isolation on ODSP, the government will give them between $8,500 and $11,000 a year. If they throw a brick through a store window, the government will spend $82,000 a year to jail them and provide shelter, food, clothing, recreation, education, medical services, companionship, and the certainty they will be taken care of. Now, frankly, as a parent and taxpayer, I find that logic appalling, degrading, and disgusting. And I hope you do too. My final comment is where services are lacking, omitted, or not available. Our children, whatever their ages, die, frozen in the snowbank, through suicide, drug overdosing, and complications, by being on the street. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Parson, 1 minute each, please.
It's a difficult topic. Our son died a year ago Saturday. FAS. His brain is malformed intellectually. The blood vessels. For FAS individuals, they die young, whether it be from defects or suicide, or the doc them up. We struggle to find the cure for cancer or heart disease. We have the cure for FAS. Don't drink while you're pregnant. It's as simple as that. I don't have a question. I want to applaud you. I absolutely applaud you for what you did. 20 years ago, FAS. Now we know we have to change. That's the way they are. And the more publicity, the better. Thank you. If there's anything I can ever do to help.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Jackson.
Chairman, I've known Bruce for a while, and I'd like to yield my minute for him to add some more for the record.
Let me allow Mr. McCase, and then you can.
No, I'm giving him my minute.
Yeah, and then
I'm giving him my minute.
I realized that. I thought
you.
it would be, that's fine. I thought maybe you would want to summarize after the questions. In case there is some.
I'm
Okay.
pleased
Why
to
don't
give
you
Bruce
make your
another
statement
minute.
now?
Your choice. Thank you.
You go ahead now. That's
I
fine.
appreciate that.
Okay.
In the justice system, we spend $12 billion annually.
Okay.
The alcohol industry contributes $3.2 billion annually. Half of the justice budget is related to alcohol issues, whether it's FAS or whether it's car accidents, whatever. But more than half the budget is our justice budget alone. Now that's $6 billion, and the alcohol industry is only contributing 3.2. Well, you know, if you want to play, you got to pay. So maybe they should be paying the full shot. And that money should be coming back to the people they're affecting, quite frankly, because none of the money is coming to the grassroots. None of the money is actually getting to the people who are dealing with this face-to-face on a day-to-day basis. We need your help.
Thank you, Mr. Ritchie.
Thank you.
I just want to congratulate the both of you for giving us this information. I learned it while we were dealing with Ernie's bill. And it's incredible how much of this behavior we do not understand in the educational system. I learned through that committee process. Doctors don't know how to identify it, generally speaking. Special education teachers certainly don't know how to identify it, and regular teachers don't. I learned that those kids that have fetal alcohol spectrum disorder can't explain why they do what they do. And so if that's the case, what do we do? All I want to say is that this issue doesn't fall into this bill. But it could if we found a way to build it in, and I hope we find a way to do that.
It honestly does fall into the bill because you can make FASD a listed disability in there along with diabetes.
It's the same with autism. It doesn't fit. I hope it does, but it can. I agree with you.
Then let's hope in heaven's name you will actually do it.
Okay. And we thank you very much for your presentation, and we'll move on to the next one. Thanks again.
On Sandy's Law being implemented, thank God it's there. Your work has been fantastic. It's delighted to see that. An individual's place and success in society is almost entirely determined by neurological functioning. A neurologically injured child is unable to meet the expectations of parents, family, peers, school, and career, and can endure a lifetime of failures.
Please.
Thank you very much. Actually, I have the task of condensing 103,000 documents and letters in the FastLink archives, and the issues of more than 400,000 people who use our services annually into a 10-minute presentation. I don't know if we can do that, but we're going to try.
Thank you.
And I would like to congratulate Mr. Parsons. Roughly 20% of girls, over 19% of girls ages 12 to 34 consume 5 or more drinks on each occasion 12 or more times a year. In addition, another 32% of girls ages 15 to 34 consume 5 or more drinks on each occasion 1 to 11 times per year. Now, 5 drinks for a 100-pound girl causes a 0.25 blood alcohol The largest cause of neurological damage in children is prenatal exposure to alcohol. These children grow up to become adults. Often the neurological damage goes undiagnosed, but not unpunished. Fetal alcohol spectrum disorders are caused when a pregnant woman consumes alcohol. It is 100% preventable. The Statistics Canada Canadian Community Health Survey in 2000-2001 found that that's 3 times the legal limit. 0.30 usually gets somebody into the intensive care unit. Most girls are 2 to 3 months pregnant before they find out, and it is likely that at least 20% of the children in this province are exposed prenatally to multiple binges of alcohol. Even low levels of consumption, as low as 1 drink per week, have been shown to be adversely